Hello, my name is Mrs. Melanin.
And I'm Beleaf Mel.
And we're here with episode 140 of That's Just...
Was that a joke?
No, it was not. Hello, I'm Mrs. Melanin.
And I'm Beleaf Mel.
And we're here with episode 140 of
How Married Are You? You still forgot.
I was about to say.
My name Beleaf, this is Yvette, and we've been married 12 years. Live in California, we got 4 kids. Relationships scary, it's very necessary. We share our love and struggles. We ask
How married are you?
Every week on a Thursday, shawty. If you're listening, you're in a wedding party. It's okay if you want to put your hands up. You got the questions, we got the answers.
It's chocolate baby story time.
Chocolate baby story time.
It's chocolate baby story time.
1, 2, 3, and... Sorry, my bad. My headphones could have been louder.
Chocolate baby story time.
All right, chocolate baby story time. Let's go. You go first.
Okay, so the other day, was I on FaceTime or I was talking to Glen? And, you know, I was saying something. Let's just put it out there. I cuss a little. Glen has finally seeped into my whatever. Because before you, I did not use profanity. But I've reached a place in life where I feel like it's sometimes necessary.
You also didn't eat food out of a can. You also didn't have sex for me. I changed your life in many ways. And the only negative way was cursing.
The only negative way?
I think so.
Anywho, I was saying something to him, and Anaya was sitting right next to me, and I was like, ASS. And she goes, and I was like, what?
It's a family-friendly show. We should have bleeped that, but go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Anywho, yeah. So Anaya has not Lily.
Hey, stop. Dog.
We've been working on phonics and sounds of letters and all those things, and she's kind of inconsistent with it. And I had kind of just been like, we're just gonna keep going, drilling it in as much as possible. The boys got it at different ages. It's all good. And that is the one time I spell a word and she tries to sound it out. I was very caught off guard.
It wasn't even like that. It was just like, you were like, you spelled the word and she was like, what does that mean? And then she was like, you were like, well, if you knew how to sound out your words, you'd be able to spell it. And she goes, s.
That's exactly how it went.
Perfect. Lily. Get out of here. This dog. Okay, guys. So, man, I have been really having a hard time with the boys. They are just not listening. The other day, I'm trying to tell Theo to do something, and I'm asking him a question. He's like, because we vowed that we're not going to make multiple different breakfasts and stuff like that anymore. And so,
which is almost easier to just make the different meals.
Yeah. So I told him we're not doing that. And so he's like, well, can I, instead of a bagel, can I have, what I have instead of oatmeal, can I have a bagel? I'm like, I'm not making multiple different breakfasts, of course. So then he's like I tell him, I'm like, hey, would you like a bagel with your oatmeal? Because I'll give you food in addition, but I'm not giving you more of the same food, right? Or more different food or whatever. Like, you have to eat the base that I'm making, but I will give you additional. And the boy just turns away and starts walking away as I'm talking. Like, as I'm saying, Theo, would you like a bagel in addition to the oatmeal that I'm going to make you right now? He turned away and was leaving me. And I saw the back of his head and I said, excuse me. And I just started to really go in on him. And I was like, why are you walking away from me as I'm finished talking to you? And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, don't do that again. I'm going to hurt you. I don't like that. That is rude. And apparently he does that all the time to you.
I don't know if he necessarily walks away from me while I'm talking. The thing that he does to me is I tell him to do something and he just stands there. and looks at me like he has no sense of urgency or whatever. And he did it this morning. I was packing his backpack and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, get out. Because he was in the schoolroom and he was just like, he was micromanaging me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know what I'm doing. If you like, whatever, I'm not getting it done in your time, but I'm getting it done. Get out.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like stood there and acted like he was reading something on the wall. And I said, get out now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's like a preteen. He's got this like
no, he's
added.
not.
He is a preteen. If you look up the definition of preteen, he is.
You told him he was that.
Oh
he's
my
not no freaking
goodness!
preteen.
I Googled it.
He's 9.
He's 10 in like 9 days.
All right. Well, he's 9 right now, and that's not a preteen.
Yes, it is. Oh my goodness, babe! 9 to 12 years old is a preteen.
Who says that?
Google.
What is the website?
The justice.ca is .California.
What? I don't believe that crap. Boys mature slower than girls.
Babe.
So maybe he's going to be a preteen at 12. But right now, at 9,
Babe, he's
absolutely not. I believe Anaya will be a preteen early because she acts old now. With her freaking purse and all the crap she got to gather before she get out the house, she's old.
Okay.
Did you hear what I said about your daughter?
I was reading the text from our childcare.
Yeah.
What?
Your daughter acts old.
Oh, yeah. She's just an old soul. She's just like her mama.
Yeah, she acts like an old fogey. She got to grab all her stuff and come out of the house with 3 different bags and a necklace.
Don't talk about my daughter.
Yeah, that's what she like.
No, but Theo is a preteen. I just need you to understand that. He is experiencing all the things. We need to start reading books. In the comments below, if you have a good book about preteen years, especially with boys, please send them our way. Because this child, seriously, it's like there's like some days when I am just in awe and in love, right? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so mature, you're so understanding, you're so something. And then there's other days where it's like, I can't stand the kid.
I wonder if I move like that. Who does he get that from? Because he acts like he don't got nowhere to be.
Nowhere to be until he has somewhere to be. So this morning, the kids were late to school. It's my fault, I think. I think it's my fault. I don't know. They were late to school, right? And I guess Jax was like, well, Theo left and the thing about it is it was divine intervention because Jax was like, you want me to go wash your car? And I was like, yeah, we got a membership at the thing. Go ahead. And so she went to wash the car and she's vacuuming out the back and she finds Theo's lunch pail. So Theo she said he was so whatever about being late to school this morning that he just got out of the car without his lunch pail. But if, you know what I'm saying? It's just like he doesn't care until it's his schedule. If it's time to get to hockey, if it's time to get to school, if it's time to get to somewhere where he want to be.
The road trip.
Because he's always aware of what time it is. The boy got a Fitbit and now he has time on his wrist and I'm about ready to throw that Fitbit in the trash.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
But like he will move swiftly when it conveniences him. But if it's about other people, he don't care. He don't care. He's just slow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think he's a preteen yet. I refuse that.
Gosh.
I refuse to believe that right now.
Babe, are you not experiencing teenage vibes from him?
Yeah, I think that's because of the shows he watches. I don't think that's because he's actually wanting to do it. You know what I'm saying? I think like the thing is when you talk to the boy and you look at him and you say what you got to say to him, he hears you. And then if you just kind of move, like jump toward him, he will freak out.
When you do it. But when I walk over there to him and literally grab his body and make him move at the speed I need him to move, he don't do that for me. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I feel like gentle parenting, and I don't even know if I would class myself as a gentle parenter, but it's just like, I don't know if it works because...
You don't know if gentle parenting works?
Yeah.
You are a gentle parenter.
I am a gentle parenter.
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
Gentle parent.
I'm a gentle parent. Maybe I'm not a gentle parenter because I be seeing all the things you're supposed to say in certain instances and I didn't say it like that.
I don't be caring about what them people be talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like we got an opportunity. Now I'm going to get on my knees and look you in the eye and say, look, if you can't hear me from up there, from down there, you need to grow faster. I'm not sitting up like, for me, it's different. So the other day, this kid like he left the light on in his room, and I'm such a jerk when it comes to how I do this type of stuff, and I don't even care, right? Because I'm thinking, okay, the scripture talks about do not exasperate your children, right? I'm trying not to exasperate them, but I am slightly annoying, right? So
To everybody.
So he'll be like, light is left on. I'm like, oh, the light left on. You know what I'm saying? So I start going into my dad Rolodex of things I could say and how I can get him to understand that the light needs to be on. It needs to be off. I say, Theo, you scared of the dark?
Oh, yeah, I heard this.
And it was daytime at the time. It's like, no. I was like, you scared of daytime? No. Well, why is my light on upstairs? Why is the light on in your room? What are you trying to look for? I don't know. Go up there and turn the light off. And I could have just been like, hey, Theo, you left the light on.
Yeah.
That would have been a mature thing to do.
Yeah, and that's where he gets his crap from.
You think he gets it from me?
I most definitely do. He's always trying to think of a smart way to come back. He's always, when he's talking to me, he always says crap under his breath. And I say, if you're going to say it, you better say it out loud.
Now, see, I don't like him doing that to you, but when he's 20, he's going to be hilarious. I love the kid. I love the kid, man. I just started being like this, but...
You just started being like this? You've been like this my whole relationship with you.
Really?
What?
Well, good for you. I'm hilarious.
I'll give you that. You are hilarious.
Okay.
Okay.
So the topic for today, let's talk about what we're going to talk about.
Hopefully everybody's still here after ranting about our children.
People want to hear us talk. They ain't got nothing else to do. They driving. Driving.
Washing dishes?
Washing dishes.
Supposed to be working. Okay, so Glenn months ago listened to this podcast by Secret
to Success.
Yeah, that one. And I'll just say it's episode 340. We will hopefully link it in the show notes below, but I'm not going to make no promises. But yeah, so he listened to this episode, and I remember him listening to it because he was really it was like a huge aha moment, it seemed like for you.
Me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so he shared with me a little synopsis about it, and it was talking about the quiet years.
Yeah, it was Jamal King.
It was Jamal King.
Bringing up the quiet years to E.T., CJ, and
Eric?
Carl.
Yeah.
Carl. Yeah.
I don't know who Eric
is. They're all the homies, so shout out to them. But yeah.
Okay. And so I don't know why, but recently that concept has been like, it just kind of came up in my mind this week where it's like the quiet years. And so anywho, I thought that it might be nice to talk about the quiet years. So let me first describe or use what Jamal describes as a quiet year. So he's like, when you first get married, there's that time period where you're getting married, your friends are getting married, you're in everybody's wedding, attending bachelor parties and bachelorette parties, et cetera, right? And then after that, it's like everybody's having a baby. You are somebody's godparent. You got like 15,000 godchildren out there in the streets.
Nieces and nephews
and all the things. And then he talks about you hit a period where it's the quiet years. And he describes the quiet years. He kind of age ranged it between 35 and 40. E.T. kind of was like, I actually think it's in the 30s. I honestly don't know if it's isolated to a number. I think it's more so isolated to the season of your marriage because people get married at different points, And so he talks about it where it's kind of like you start hearing people talk about divorces. You start seeing your spouse in passing, and you kind of just lose way of like that face-to-face contact that you might have. And so that's the quiet period. And I don't know if you feel this way, love, but I feel like we might be in the quiet years. Mm-hmm. We're 35. I'm 35. You 37. Mm-hmm. We're in that age range. We're no longer really getting invited to weddings, like that. People are kind of done having babies. We're all dealing with preteens. you know, and I don't know. I don't know if we're all the way in that, but I do know that there is an element of quiet in our relationship.
In our relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't feel that way? I mean, we talk all the time. That's you.
Sorry.
Mute. Am I speaking wrong?
No, you can't speak wrong. You speak your mind. What I gotta say about it? Say what you gotta say.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. I just wanted to bring up that period of time and then talk about the ways that we're trying to combat it. Combat it?
Well, I think that as far as the quiet years are concerned, I don't think that it's just necessarily the relationship is quiet. I think just the period of life is not very celebratory.
Yeah.
So
that's what I meant to say. Not the relationship, but this season of life is just kind of like, we got to do. You know what I mean? E.T. said something in there.
Hold on. Before you get to that, I feel like we are in the season of, right, so the quiet years are like, you've had your babies. Mm-hmm. The babies are out of the way. The baby has already started crawling and then started walking. And then there's, this event and that event, the christening or the dedication or whatever the situation is. Like you kind of got those out of the way. And now you've pretty much found the people you're going to be doing life with. Now, the quiet years are especially quiet for those outside of community who don't have people to lean on or friends that are also going through the same season. So if you're someone who, you might have gotten pregnant young or had babies young, and then all your friends may have waited 5 or 6 years, you're kind of in the quiet years, and then all your friends are having these big moments, and the celebratory moments don't necessarily seem the same. You're not even really happy. You're like, yeah, girl, I did that already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, man? We already did all that, got that out of the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so you have to do a lot more work in order to make sure that you're feeling, connected with your people, and it's not necessarily quiet for just a marriage, but the entire house is quiet. And then just being in this generation where we are all so therapized,
we're hypnotized.
What is it? Therapized?
We're also therapy centric. I don't know.
Self-care, self-help, right?
Mental wellness.
Priority. We are also removing things in our life that we deem unacceptable, which also can keep us away from community in certain aspects as well. And so not to say that therapy is good or bad or whatever, we think it's great, but there is a different understanding when you're trying to protect something and also trying to grow. It's really hard because sometimes outside of protection is where you grow, right? In the danger zone is where you grow. So it's definitely a tricky season as we are entering these years where we're looking at Theo and we're like, I didn't sow that. I didn't sow that attitude. That's not what I gave you. Or did I? Oh my gosh. Did I give that to you? You know what I'm saying? Like the conversations with the children and everything is just different. And so we're developing skills that not a lot of people talk about because it could seem very dark sometimes.
What do you mean by that? Say more. Skills. What do you mean by the skills?
Like our skills right now aren't like, okay, so some people are learning the skill of, all right, how do I make the best representation for my family, right? And because the skill is like, I want to show up wherever I'm showing up and I want to be a nice little package family and be accepted, right? So how do I get my children to behave well? How do I make sure that they're hanging out with the right people? You know what I'm saying? Right? So like some people are like, this is a skill that we're honing here. We don't really think of it as a skill. We just think like, well, if I present myself better and the best I can, then I will be accepted to the best people I can, or at least be a part of this friend group for a while. So like if you look at like church fellowships, right? In communities, it is very based on like who the community connects with, right? So it's like, you know, this person, that person, and you guys click, and then it's click. So it's like a little family here, little group here. You know what I'm saying? You see them all the time, like little clicks here and there. You know what I mean? And to be a part of that group is not just a, oh, these are my friends. Sometimes literally it's like a upkeep thing. You know what I'm saying? How can I serve? How can I do this? How can I stay within this community? You know what I mean? And so the work isn't always deep work. That is all about like foundational thought processes with, you know, your kids and how you're raising them and how you're getting them to learn to think. Sometimes it's just about how do we present ourselves as best as possible. And that is a skill. That the whole point about the quiet years to me, and we'll get to what E.T. said, but the whole point about it is that it's not glamorous, right? And so it takes real work to make it in these years, right? And to do well in these years, and it's got to be difficult. And so whatever you're doing during these quiet years is essentially saying what will happen to you after they're over.
Yeah.
Once the graduations start coming and the grandkids start coming and the weddings start coming, all that stuff, those, oh, we're celebrating again, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when the real work happens.
Do you think it's a matter,
Years.
do you think in the quiet years, because I know like and I don't know if I'm like going on a rabbit trail here, but I know for me right now, like the other day I had to book my time away so that I had something to look forward to. Do you think in the quiet years that is like a thing where it's like we don't really know what to look forward to because the quiet years stretch for such a long period of time that we're like, is there ever going to be another side to this, you know?
I think that's your personal prescription
My personal prescription.
to your, like, what you need to look forward to.
But I'm wondering because in the non-quiet years, you're looking forward to marriage, to having a baby, to things like that. There's something that's coming up. You know it's coming.
Having another baby.
Right. You know? And like now, I will admit, I know I'm not having no more children. And that makes me sad. Even though I know I have no business having another child. Like, I don't want another child, but I want another child.
Yeah, I think if you had another child, that would be very exciting.
It would be super exciting, but then it would be detrimental to my mental health.
And our marriage.
And Glen's like, don't forget about the marriage.
Yeah. Not only your mental health, but what it requires to be a partner in that union. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different breed. Not to say if you get pregnant, like, you know, then I'm like, oh man, this is over. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna, like, my mind has to switch into a different mode.
Which I feel like takes me into like some of the things that E.T. said. He said, I didn't know our actual life would get in the way of our love.
Dang, that's so dope.
It was deep. Yeah. It was like, like we have created this life together, and now we actually have to like tend to these kids and tend to this business and tend to our careers and do all these things. And it's like, it feels like it's creating a further and further distance between the two of us. And he also went on to say, he said, there's a need not just for working in the marriage, but also working on the marriage. And I feel like that is something that, like, I don't know if I'm allowed to give ourselves a pat on the back, but I do feel like we do a good job of working in and on our marriage. I feel like I would grade us probably a B-.
B- on what?
On working on the marriage, because I feel like we are definitely doing the work in therapy and individually on our own in our own therapy journeys, which is allowing us to show up better in the marriage. You know, I don't think that we protect our time as well as far as the time that you and I get with each other. We have like a weekly date night, but I don't know if we like guard it like it's sacred time.
And you think that is...
Maybe it's a B plus.
That deserves a full letter grade.
No, it's probably
almost 2 letter grades down.
B plus. I'll give us a B plus.
Give us a B plus because we don't always do date nights on time.
And I feel like too, and I don't know, and that was another thing. I don't remember if it was Jamal. It was Carl. What is his name?
Carl.
It was Carl. He was talking about expectations. He was talking about your expectations going into a marriage of what it's supposed to look like versus like being in the actual marriage and what it actualizes to. And he was like, and then they were talking about, like your, what's the name? Carl Winslow's and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's and whatever, and seeing those different unions and seeing how like they got to be together as a husband and wife. And that's kind of the image that you had in your mind. And then E.T. with his words of wisdom, he came in and he said, I would rather have my wife than my expectations. He was like...
Man, the dude...
he's got some fire one-liners in there.
He operates on a godly level of information. It is so hard to keep up when that dude is talking because you have to like think and stumble and just be like, wait. How do I apply that?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So, and that was the beautiful thing about it because I feel like that one kind of hit me. That one kind of was like, oh, sucker punch. And
Why?
I was like,
Why?
Calm down. I'm trying to respond to your first why. Goodness gracious. I feel like that one resonated with me because I am someone that has expectations. And I think even when he says, I would rather have my wife than my expectations, I would rather like, it's not even about the expectations that I have on you as much as it's the expectations that I have on me as well. Like there's expectations that I have on both of us that are not realistic and don't allow us both to show up authentically to the marriage in a way that is like productive. I don't want to say lack of productivity, but I want to say like in a way that honors, that brings honor to each of us.
You just said you have unfair expectations of both of us that don't enable us to show up in the marriage, right? But your expectations don't dictate how I show up.
Okay.
I show up exactly as much as I can.
Yeah.
But
when did you start that? Because I feel like it was therapy that helped you because I'm getting a whole different version of Glen out here in these streets.
Glen is so good out here, guys.
Glen has grown so much, and it is actually really beautiful to experience and to observe.
But hate just a little bit.
It's a very it's a very, you know what it is, babe? It's like you're raising the bar. You're raising the bar of my relationship interactions, including my relationship with you. I feel like you are prioritizing your own mental health. You are celebrating like your wins and who you are. And you know that you're doing well, regardless of what I say or how I lament or whatever the word is for it. You know that you are doing what you can, what you have the capacity for in order to honor me as your wife, honor our children, and all the things.
Even Lily's
Look
proud
at, she wants to give you love.
Even Lily's proud. Oh, thank you, Stinky. I would say that I'm gonna show up as best as I can in this marriage over and over and over again. And then when you tell me I could be doing better, I'm gonna hear you. And I'm going to try to do better. But I'm not, your expectations or your grade does not affect me.
Yeah.
And it can't. And that's something that really, it was so difficult to get to that point.
Yeah.
Because I felt like if I did not please you and I did not make you happy, or if I messed up a little bit, then I was failing. And I'm like, no one said I had to be perfect. Like, no one said I had to load the dishwasher just how she wanted the dishwasher to be loaded, even though she didn't communicate, even though she said she didn't want pots and pans in there, and then she put pots and pans in there. That don't got nothing to do with me, man. That's her problem. That is your all-around problem. And I'm going to try my best to remember to do that. But, it is what it is. And so I would say that I'm not trying to raise the bar for, just like, oh yeah, I'm raising the bar, but it is like I cannot do that. Like I just can't.
I don't even know if raising the bar is the right word. I think it's empowerment. I feel empowered to be the same, to have the same energy. You know what I'm saying? And not in a facetious way, but in a way that is like, he's right. Like my grade of who I am as a wife and as a mother cannot be based on what you say or do toward me.
For sure.
It has everything to do with my connection with the Lord and how I'm showing up on, like, how he's showing up through me for y'all.
And absolutely to your capacity and what you can actually do. You know what I'm saying? Because it may not be feasible for you to do some things. You know what I'm saying? And if that's your limit, then that's your limit. But that can I say? And I would just say, just as a caveat, please make sure that you really want your man to go into therapy. Or your spouse, your wife to go into therapy.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how him healing is going to affect you.
Yeah.
I say that all the time because people are like, yeah, he needs to go to therapy or she needs to go to therapy. She needs. But what happened when you're the toxic one that they need to get away from and put boundaries up against? You know what I'm saying? Like, you really got to think about that. And so make sure that you guys understand what you're asking for, because it is a lot. I would say that when he said, I would rather have my wife than my expectations, I really don't. It's hard to gather that because, I think your expectations are great if you can communicate them. You know what I'm saying? But if you have them and they're given to me and I don't know what to do with them, I can't really, work with that. And so I would say expectations just need to be communicated. You know what I'm saying? Because I have expectations, but I refuse to expect anything because I don't want to be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? And that's with everybody. Every relationship is like that with me, And so if you have low expectations, you can't really get hurt. You know what I'm saying? And so there's some growth for me there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to just talk about a couple more things before. E.T. had said something else about how it's easier to start over than push through. And I think in those 35 to 40 years old range, a lot of us are like, I'm still young. Like, maybe the grass is greener on the other side. Like, I don't have to put up with this. Let me just go ahead and like let this person go and move on with my life, And I think that goes, like, Glen is often, I feel like Glen's been preaching this sermon to me for our entire marriage, but I don't know if it's a sermon, but you've always talked to me about how I prioritize my comfort and how I am someone who likes to be comfortable. And I think that is true. And I think that a lot of us like our comfort. And so that's why sometimes when it takes a little bit extra for us to push through, we don't push through. For example, last night, I gave up. After I fed the kids, I was done. I knew I had to pack backpacks, lunches, and put the dishes in, like, Bree calls it close the kitchen. I knew I had to close the kitchen last night, and I didn't do that. And so then when I woke up this morning, I wasn't able to do my Bible study because I had to close the kitchen. And you know what I'm saying? It was just a bunch of things that offset my thing. And it was because I prioritized my comfort last night. But I could have pushed through and got all those things done and had a better start to my day today. And I think that is a really valuable understanding or like mentality for so many of us to have, that it is easier to start over sometimes, but most of the time it's better for us if we push through. And I want to add a caveat as well. Like, there are certain situations in marriage that are not the kind you want to push through. If you're being abused or anything like that, there are certain parameters that you will want to consider as far as not pushing through. Some things you just got to let go. But if it's things like he doesn't load the dishwasher right, or he doesn't put the clothes in the right dirty clothes hamper, whatever, like, those are things that, can be worked through.
Yeah.
I liked how Jamal, he was talking about how when like in those years, like his wife, for example, was working at Enterprise or like some car rental place, and he was working the night shift. So she would be working during the day, and he was working the night shift as a police officer. And so they ended up, missing each other every day or often. They'd only get like an hour here or a couple hours there. And then most of the time, one of them's more tired than the other at certain points in the day. And when they were able to get to a point where I guess Jamal's income could cover the home, they had made a decision that his wife would not work. She was like, I just want to be done with that. And of course, that opened up time for them to spend more time together, but also it created an avenue for them to be able to work on an aligned vision together. And I feel like that is something that is valuable when you have something that you are working toward together in the quiet years. It helps to push through. It also challenges us, as Glenn and I have experienced in the past few years. But yeah.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, are you talking about like a grade us during the quiet years or grading us period? I don't owe you anything.
I'm grading.
No. She looks sad. I don't owe you nothing. Sit. Thank you.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you got in trouble.
No, don't try me. No, that's
all
not
done,
happening.
Lily. Thank you. All done. She's hungry.
You haven't fed her lunch?
I haven't fed her lunch, no. All right. So were you saying during the quiet years or in general? I told her to stop touching. Now she's gonna jump on you.
No, all done.
So
no, sit. Sorry.
So what do you think?
I was talking about like just now. I mean, in this season that we're currently in, I would give us a B+.
Yeah, I think.
What would you give us?
I think I'm killing it.
I'm talking about us as a relationship.
I think there's definitely always some improvement and stuff to do and stuff to work on. You know what I'm saying? I think, I think the hard part is that we don't have support for what we need in order to accomplish and do the routine things we need to do. We have date nights, right? And on the days that we have date nights, it's a very busy day for me, right? It's just crazy. Most days are crazy. Not that that's an excuse, but for where we're going, it's not crazy, right? For like what we're doing with our careers and our lives, it is mixed in with like family life, ministry, and work, right? It all kind of includes all of it, right? So it's rare that we have something that special, but it is easy to turn that thing into an idol or not create boundaries with it and separate the three, right? So when I'm working, I feel good. When I'm with the family, I feel good. When I'm with you, I feel good. And there are periods and moments where I stop and I'm just like, yo, we're going to focus on this thing for now. Like, but I do feel like it's on me to plan the date nights mostly. You know what I'm saying? Which does make it a little difficult. You know what I'm saying? But I can do that. I can get better at that. But I wouldn't put that as like I wouldn't say that's a B. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But you would.
I said a B+.
B+. Yeah. I think you have very high, maybe unrealistic expectations of what our lives should look like right now. And I think I think if we could get on the same page there, and maybe if you can express, you know what I'm saying? Because let's put it all out on the table. When you came home from work, your expectation without communicating was that I was going to be home chilling and recording videos on my phone, and you were gonna be home chilling, and we were gonna be home, parenting together.
I definitely thought we were going to be doing more parenting together. I didn't know that I would be the primary parent. I thought we would be 50-50 parents.
Why didn't you so that is the okay, so like this is how I feel. Mm-hmm. Nope. There's no point in me trying to please some of these people in my life.
AKA you.
You, the kids, whatever. You know who has very low expectations of me?
Uriah.
Anaya.
Oh.
Baby girl ain't got, she's like, can you do this? No? All right. Can you do this? Really? You know what I'm saying? They're very low.
You just made me miss her.
Yeah. The thing is, though, the boys' expectation is that I'm going to stop working and come home, put a diaper on my head, and play fight with them every second, every hour of the day.
Yeah.
That is what they are looking for.
Yes.
I think you have an expectation of that same thing as well, in a different way. Mm-hmm. Whenever I need you, whenever you need me, I'm there. Like, drop of a hat. Hey, I got a question. Whatever it is, I stop and I answer that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like anything you need, I can't. You know what I'm saying? You are like pause, time out, time out, real quick. I was just playing. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like the base, right? And so, as someone who probably is ADD, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's really hard for me to come in and out of work and turn that off and on. You know what I'm saying? So I think your expectation, I think we just need to communicate that, because if we do, then I would say that I can say, no, that's not going to work, but yes to this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And sometimes when I feel like you say an expectation, you don't even want to say it because you're scared I'm going to say no. But I have a right to say no.
Yes.
I have a right to be like, I can't do that. Uh-huh. Right?
Yeah.
Do I?
Oh, most definitely. I know. But the thing, too, is that I think because you have that energy about you, sometimes it's not even necessarily being afraid of a no. It's me already having the conversation in my head and just like sparing myself the trouble. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, often it comes out the way I anticipate it will come out. Mm-hmm. It pans out. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't like being told no.
I don't mind being told no.
No one likes being told no.
You don't like being told no? Sometimes I appreciate a no.
I appreciate your no's.
I feel like I'm just starting to say no more better.
I would rather you say no than yes if it's to protect you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But most of the time, and the thing is, and this is where we just don't agree, is that your yes is to something that has nothing to do with me. Like your yes, you're saying yes to something you don't want to do and I don't want to do. But because I say no and I say this, I'm drawing a line here. This is not for me. You're like, how dare you choose you over me and over everyone else and me?
Oh my goodness.
So I think that is where I haven't changed much, because my no has pretty much always been no. Mm-hmm. But I've been like, no and what? Right? It's like no and what now? Yeah, you petting that dog.
I was petting her and I just rubbed all the grossness in my eye.
I told you not to pet the dog.
Gosh dang it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I feel like we can go on about this.
I know. I was gonna say I was going to say, like, sometimes I feel bad because I feel like as podcast hosts we should leave everybody with hope and whatever. And I don't know that we've left you with a lack of hope. I just think that right now, like, if you are in the quiet years, we're walking them parallel with you.
No, yeah, but not only that, right? Mm-hmm. I think in order to prepare yourself for the quiet years correctly, things need to be communicated well. You know what I'm
yes.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we have things like the Premarital Advantage, our
Yeah.
e-course.
Very good, babe.
So that you can communicate a lot of these things up front. Basically, we are mentoring you through your premarital counseling that you're taking on your own. But if you want to use us as mentor couples, we have a whole curriculum for you to have very hard conversations with your significant other. These conversations are conversations that we wish we would have communicated better because we just did not communicate them well. And I think even with premarital counseling, I think they did the best job they could. But to have a couple that have already been having these conversations and you watch them do it, it's easier to go through it with us. You know what I'm saying? So go through your premarital counseling, do what you got to do, find your church and all that stuff. But as a supplement, I think the Premarital Advantage is a great add-on. Did you want to add something?
No, I think he's right. I think when you have, I think you will never be prepared for certain things in life until you've actually experienced them until you're actually walking through them. And so when you have conversations with a premarital counselor or a premarital mentor couple, then you have this opportunity to be more ready than not. And so I think that like you'll have tools in your toolbox that you may not know what to do with until you get into it, but you at least have the tools. It's better to show up with tools in the toolbox than to show up with no tools at all. Yeah. Basically. And so I would really encourage you. And honestly, I don't think this Premarital Advantage course is just for engaged couples. I think it's for couples who are dating, whether you just started dating or you're going to be dating or you've been dating for years. I think you could benefit from it. And I also think it's worthy of an investment from some of y'all single folk out there. Because I feel like as you start to date and get into relationships with people, it also helps you navigate certain conversations in those early days that will help you save yourself some time.
Yeah, and the workbook, whatever you're gathering from the workbook, you can be like preparing notes and say, okay, this is how this person was. Here are the things that we talked about and communicated. Now, after getting in a more serious relationship, these things aren't keeping up, and you actually gives you a little bit more of a track record to figure out where you or your partner is. But what I was going to say just about the quiet years and making sure that you're communicating is it's like that for a reason. But if you only esteem the things that are like super valuable to be like childbirth and weddings and all those type of things, you know what I'm saying? Then there's definitely I feel like an identity issue there. Yeah. That's kind of like, this is where I find my value. And if we're not celebrating and having fun, then it's not for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to make the fun things, the normal things fun. Like, you know, when we started implementing family nights into our routine or, you know, the date nights into our routine or Saturday morning breakfast or, you know what I'm saying? You know, this year I have a goal to take each of the kids on a date once a quarter. And then we're having time away, right? We are doing this thing, y'all. Y'all ain't ready. We doing this thing where if we lose 20 pounds together by March 13th,
which is our dating anniversary,
we're going to
book our trip
to
Jamaica.
And
we're supposed to lose more weight before the trip to Jamaica.
Yeah, and I think we should do a thing where if we lose a certain amount of weight each thing, then we can, like each time stamp, then we can like book an excursion.
Oh, like in Jamaica.
So it's like if we hit this weight goal, then we could go. But if we hit this weight goal, we could do this.
Oh.
You was planning on doing it anyway.
Yeah.
I like to earn everything. That's my problem. I like to set low goals. But yeah, so far we've been 2 weeks and we're down 5 pounds together as a team. Right? So Biggest Loser, watch out. We're on the way.
How married are you, love?
I am so married. I did something that was really amazing.
I wrote it down for you.
No, it's something else.
Are you playing with it right now?
Oh. Yes. Man, I got this ring from Kalo. And I'm working on
stretching it
out because it's too tight. I got 2 rings, one too big, one too small. So I'm going to get another one. But
why did I think it was black? Was it black before? Was one of them black?
Yeah, one was gray. And so, yeah, I'm wearing my wedding ring, guys. And I already lost it once and found it. Yeah, because it's rubber or whatever. I did like this and it flicked off. It was bing, bing. But you can't hear it. You know, a metal ring go bing, 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 ling, 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 and you see it. And you're like, oh, there it is. Hear, see. Right? This one is only 1 cent. Eyes.
It was $1,
See.
a cent?
No, it was only 1 cent.
Oh,
I could
cents.
find it.
S-E-N-S-E.
It was just like, it was like, and it was just gone. And I was looking around for it and I couldn't find it. And then I found it. So, yeah, wearing my wedding ring. All right, babe, how married are you?
Excuse me. I'm so married that I did not invite you to an award ceremony for one of our children friends.
Oh, children friends.
Well, like
Friends.
basically for a goddaughter.
That is so cold.
Is that bad one?
It's not bad,
Okay,
but it
wait.
just makes me sound like such
Okay, so again, let me say it again. I'm so married that
Keep all this in.
keep it in.
Go ahead.
Well, then why do I say it again? I'm so married that I considered your yes and no for you before I even, like, you didn't even know it was a thing. Because
Did it happen already?
No, it's on Thursday, I think.
Okay.
It's like Thursday morning, and I know you have therapy,
it's
you
crazy.
have other things, and I didn't want you to try to, I knew you weren't going to rework your schedule to go. So
Yeah.
I just said we will not be able to make
I
it.
had that meeting for 2 hours
Oh, yeah.
Thursday morning.
Yeah.
It's impossible. I appreciate that. I would love.
Is that a good one? Because I felt like it was a good
No,
one.
it's a good one. I would say that. I think. Can I give you a way to enhance that?
Okay, go ahead.
So you can tell me, but just don't be upset when I say no.
Yeah. So do you want to know about the opportunity to show up somewhere?
Yeah, I just want to. I want you to tell me and not necessarily be upset that I say no, because now it's like I'm not even in the no. Like I don't even have a choice to say no. You know what I'm saying? But I would probably say no anyway.
Yeah.
But though I would say no, I still want you. Like the whole thing is not so much that I say no, is what happens after I say no. And it's just kind of like, oh, shucks. I know I couldn't count on him. Like, that's what it seems like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that not making sense?
It makes sense. It's like sometimes I want to be invited to the party. I know I don't feel like going and I'm not going to go, but I want to know that you thought that I should be there. You desired my presence.
Yeah.
And so I want the opportunity to decide, maybe I'm up for this or maybe I'm not. Even though, I'm going to say no, you know? I understand that because oftentimes I'm like, why didn't they invite me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when the reasons are obvious why they wouldn't invite me, it's still like, you should have invited me.
Yes.
But I understand. I will let you know even if you can't make it. Even if I know you can't make it.
Yeah.
Because maybe one day you will want to rearrange your schedule to make it.
Well, no.
Oh. So then why am I telling you?
You're telling me to communicate.
Okay.
Because
just
I
for
should know
communication's
what's
sake.
happening with my
Okay.
family and where they are.
Okay.
Okay. I have that right. But the connection, that the hard part is not necessarily that I say no. It's that
When I react
when you react,
to your
it's
no.
like you fall apart.
I do not.
Okay. You fall apart emotionally.
Emotionally, I fall apart?
You definitely lament.
No.
What is your expression? What do you think it's called when you fall apart?
I don't fall apart.
Or when I would say, all right, tell me something's happening.
What?
Tell me something's happening right now, and I'm gonna respond.
Next week on Thursday, you have to skip work to hang out with your son.
What? No.
That's the expectation.
That's the expectation.
Yeah, he is expecting us to hang out with him all day on Thursday because it's his birthday, and that's what we do.
Oh, that's happening. 100%.
Okay.
Okay. But let's do another one.
Oh.
Something different.
So-and-so's award ceremony is on Thursday morning at 9 or 10 a.m. She got like a 4.0 GPA. Isn't that so exciting?
That is so amazing. Yeah, I can't make it to that, but I'm gonna try to find out something special I can do for her. Right. And so now you're smiling right now, but usually it's kind of like you're not even looking at me. No eye contact. And then it's like sarcastic. So you'll be like, yeah, I thought you wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? And so then I got to deal with like, okay, now I got to crack this code with you while also trying to figure out what's going on with our goddaughter. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's end this real quick.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I just got a text from childcare. Okay.
And
that's just how married we are.